Hello, everybody, and welcome to Back and Forth, our first movie review of Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm Geckoman, your host, and this is Rogue Gambit, our co-host.
All right, let's start at the start.
Yes, at the beginning of the movie, how we are thrown into basically right after Far From Home, and how Spider-Man is now basically running away from the media.
Yeah, super interesting. I mean, it's pretty fast paced at the start, right? Like
Yeah.
immediately he
Not what I was
revealed.
expecting.
Yeah, I mean,
It wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting more of like another kind of another time. I don't want to say time jump, but
okay.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, oh, I see. Yeah. Um, you get a lot of glimpses here and there of like the world they're creating. They did a really good job of like keeping it fast paced, cramming a lot in, but also like slowing down to like make like certain moments like really hit home with
Yeah.
like his aunt finding out, and that I love that scene. And like keeping it light while keeping it like heavy. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah.
Like the humor was hitting, but also like at the same time like it was really important, and like was like everything was affecting his life. And
Oh yeah.
no.
Yeah. I liked how um like so what really so as you said before, the fact how it was such an amazing movie. It had its light funny moments. It also had some very serious, very tearful,
Yes.
very good moments. um Probably one of my favorite scenes of where it was funny was the fact that he was trying to hide how everybody knew he was Spider-Man. Like,
Yeah.
he tried to hide it so well, and
And
yet
Tom Holland's acting in that scene is
that
so
was
good.
so
Like I
good.
don't know how much of it was improvised, but there was just moments that like just felt so natural. Like they had, I
Yeah,
feel like they had to be improvised with like
yeah.
him pulling the shades down and it not working, and closing the windows and using his webs to hold them down and everything. Just was like so good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. So yeah, moving on to the part where now he's living in a world where everybody knows he's Spider-Man.
Hmm.
He has to accept that fact, in which he's still trying
Yeah.
to accept it.
So this is the part where I kind of feel they were a little weak in the movie. The only part of the movie I feel that was weak. No, there's some other parts, but like it was the only part that like kind of was like drug a little bit. Like the humor didn't hit as well. Like when he's in the high school and the one teacher's like, "I hate you," and like we get that. Like we didn't need to keep rehashing it. It wasn't really funny.
Yeah.
And then just like the way the world was like viewing him was a little like I don't know. Some of it seemed forced, but it's all really good. Like they really set up like the size, the Mysterio was right versus the Spider-Man
Oh
was
yeah.
right.
Oh
They
yeah.
really set up like all of that really well and really quickly, and like just like kept it moving forward. Um, but yeah, I'd say that was probably some of my least favorite parts of it. But I love
Yeah.
the whole movie. I
Um.
love so.
Why? So one of the actually thinking about it now, I have thought about it before, but this time really kind of concretes it. Um. So does here's a question, real fast. Spider-Man in any other situation, of people knowing he's Spider-Man, does he ever take off his mask?
Yes.
He does. Like,
So
does
the
he?
Civil War comic, yeah.
Well, no, like not like that. But does he ever like fight without his mask?
Fight without it?
Like, does he ever swing around without it? Does he ever do any Spider-Man stuff without his mask?
Have you ever heard of Bagman?
Bagman? Oh,
Um,
if you don't know what he's talking about, if you haven't played the Spider-Man,
or just read the Spider-Man comics.
oh yeah, the Spider-Man comics.
Yes.
There was a point of Spider-Man's life, we'll say. He puts a bag on his head.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, so yeah, he loses his mask many times in the comics, or he takes off his mask to show that he's who he is, in the comics. And yeah, he does Spider-Man without a mask on
Okay,
a couple
okay.
of times, or has to fight Venom without his mask on because Venom knows who he is, and so he takes it off. Or Green Goblin, he has to fight without it, or gets it broken, or whatever.
Okay, okay. See, yeah, I just wanted to ask that question because the moment when
Does that
he's
happen in every Spider-Man movie that like or franchise? Because like I know like you fight like
when he fights
Tobey
the main
Maguire
villain.
takes it off in two of them.
I don't want to
Right?
say
Three?
it happens in the
Does it
Amazing
happen in
Spider-Man
Amazing? Oh,
2, but I want to say it happens in all the Spider-Man movies.
yeah.
He fights without his
It's like
mask.
Vulture knows who he is. Huh.
Yeah.
Anyways, going on. Moving
So,
on.
um, the whole the fact that when he's swinging to the cafe to give his final to see if his final letter accepts him into the school, when he swings, it I thought it was okay. Like I was, everybody knows he's Spider Man, so I would have expected him to see him swinging around without his suit or anything like that. Um, I don't want to say it didn't feel like it was something he would do, but I don't know much about the whole comics and stuff. So
I definitely
that
feel like the Spider-Man that have like been building in the MCU. I feel like it felt pretty natural.
okay,
Um, I can see people not liking it, like like he wouldn't do that. Like it doesn't matter. He still would hide his face, but
yeah,
um, I feel like it felt pretty natural.
okay, okay.
Speaking of which, since we talked about a lot of acting, I thought Zendaya is another character or actor that I never have liked much in anything I've seen her in. Never thought she was a spectacular actress or anything. But I thought in Far From Home, I really kind of started liking her playing MJ and like thought like their chemistry was really good and she just like played off of Tom Holland really well and it just like really showed in No Way Home.
Okay.
Like the her humor actually started hitting. I never really found her that funny in Homecoming and not really Far From Home, but like she was funny. She was like you could see like her character was growing. Like
Oh yeah.
she was, and like I thought Zendaya portrayed that really well.
I think the longer you play as a character, the more you can really.
Sure, but like like some people grow into their character, and some people try to like control their character. I feel like she really like just like
Didn't.
evolved with her character.
Okay, yeah, okay,
Um.
okay.
Yeah. So then going on. So then yeah, what do you think of like when he was him interacting with Doctor Stephen Strange and what's going on there? And do you think that like the whole like snow and coming in is that like any implication of like the multiverse collapsing or anything, or is that just a one-off joke?
I would say it's a one-off joke.
Okay.
I think what has happened in this movie is what's gonna cause the
Mm-hmm.
multiverse problem. But the whole interaction in that first time we see Doctor Strange was pretty amazing. Like it was pretty good. Like as you said, Doctor Strange, an amazing character in this
Mm-hmm.
movie. Like he was great. Um, I don't know how I feel about Wong. Um,
I think Wong. Yeah, I mean I've never loved his character,
yeah, like
but I think he like interactions with him were fine. I would say like him just like leaving, like what the heck he does that. What last three times we've seen him, he just like shows up and then leaves.
oh yeah, yeah.
And Infinity War,
he sh-
Endgame, I guess he shows up and fights, but uh Shang Chi just shows up and leaves.
yeah.
This he just shows up and leaves. It's kind of like I've never loved characters that are just there to like push one little plot point and then go, but it was fine.
Yeah.
Um, he wasn't. uh, They have to explain why Doctor Strange isn't the Sorcerer Supreme, so
Yeah.
I'm sure that's leading to something in Multiverse of Madness or whatnot. So it was probably important. I didn't love it, but it was fine.
Okay. Okay. Um, shall we move on to? Do we want to continue with Doctor Strange, or shall we move on to villains popping up?
So yeah, so we can go on to. So then, yeah, what did you think of the bridge fight with Doc Ock?
Pretty good. Very good.
Yeah, so good. And even like the like it's almost cheesy how the nanotech kind of like takes over and then it kind of like became a joke for a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Thought it was fabulous though. Like
Yeah.
just like felt so natural. Like Tom Holland played it really well. Alfred Molina played it so well. Uh and like I think it really like goes with who his character is, you know, like how he's not like a villainous guy without the the arms taking over,
Yeah.
and I think that like really like only like shows that more, you know, with like the arms like being controlled by someone else and like controlling
Hmm.
him, you know, um, and then the entrance of the pumpkin bomb. Oh,
Oh, yes. The whole
so good.
entrance of Green
And like you
Goblin.
think you're about to see him, and then they just snatch it right away
Yeah.
from
You
you.
see him for a split
Like you
second,
see him, but like you
but
don't.
you don't like see him enough to like be
Yeah,
like, what? Yeah. Um, yeah. Also, I think I really liked as well the fact how almost every villain that pops in still thinks they're in their world.
yes, that was played really well. Like it like shows like how similar Earth 616 as
Yeah.
Mysterio said,
Yeah.
like how similar it is to the other Earths that they came from, you know, which you know are shot in our world. So
Yeah.
I think that was interesting. Except yeah, and like we won't go into that yet. But then so yeah, then like their his interactions with Doctor Strange after that still like oh Stephen Strange Benedict Cumberbatch such a good actor, such a good actor.
Do you want fresh water or salt water? Seeing as you're an octopus. um,
so then yeah, then you meet Electro and Sandman. What do you think of Sandman?
I don't know how I felt with him being all sand, but I also understand it. He doesn't understand. He doesn't trust anybody, so I can understand he didn't want to show his face. But as that's saying, as for story, for acting, I don't know what the whole story is for getting the actors to play.
Yeah, I don't know either, and like it could be simple as they didn't want you know to leak out. You know, Marvel likes to keep everything super close. So it could be as simple as they didn't want it to leak out that you know
Yeah,
the actor for Sandman was playing or the actor for um, Lizard was playing, so they didn't want to show their faces enough to where they had to be, you know, at shooting a bunch of scenes or anything. Um, or it could be as simple as they couldn't get them. They, you know, they had other commitments. I don't know.
yeah.
Don't know the story there, but I didn't mind it especially nearly as much as I feel like a lot of people did. A lot of people think he looked bad. I thought he looked
He looked really good
fine.
for being Sandman. He
Yeah.
looked really
And like
good.
I didn't see it as like a big like plot hole or obnoxious plot point or anything
Yeah.
like that. Um so then we go to Aunt May talking with Green Goblin. How'd you
Well, let's first go to the point where we see Green Goblin in the alleyway real fast. One of the best scenes, actually, not the best scene, but it is a really good scene where he's there breaking the mask. Rogue Gambit, would you like to tell us your thoughts?
I'd love to. I really like the scene. I really like how we set up the Goblin voice we all have come to know and love. Willem Dafoe brings it back better than ever. And we set up the difference between Norman Osborn and Green Goblin's voice. And then later on, that will come into play when we hear him go back, revert to his Green Goblin voice. And we all know what's coming.
What we don't know is who has control because of the mask, you know?
Yeah. Um, the mask's broken, and he is, yeah, speaking as Norman Osborn, so we don't know if the Green Goblin even is really still there, which is emphasized by Willem Dafoe's superb acting.
If you thought William Defoe played really good in the
Willem.
first Willem Defoe, I don't know why I keep saying Willem Defoe. If you thought he played really good in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, first Spider-Man, see him in No Way Home. He plays So good. Like he again, as I said before, every character just leveled up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his acting, so good. And then
Like,
like just yeah, so you see him there, right? The next time you see him, he's like this innocent little guy,
oh yeah,
draws you in.
yeah, just makes you think it's all safe.
Yes, he just seems so lost in this world, safe, innocent, and alone.
Yeah, and the way he wanted to just help make the cure, which makes you think he just might be fine.
Which is why Aunt May trusted him and wanted Peter to trust all the villains. And um, Aunt May was even a character I didn't necessarily like when I first saw her in the other movies, but I feel like she really stepped her game up, and we got to see who she really is,
Oh yeah,
and really enjoyed her
it
character,
was
really enjoyed the acting. Um, so yeah, then we go to them, I guess.
in the apartment.
Well, would you like to? What were your thoughts on the fight between Doctor Strange and Spider Man?
Oh yeah, I actually forgot about that. Why did I forget about that? I don't know. Probably because I was so more amazed with the whole Green Goblin fights. um, well, so as everybody so it was kind of nice to see two heroes fight, but we've already seen stuff like that.
Yeah, but
But
anyways, what you think? I have a lot of thoughts about it, so I want
like
to hear what your
I
thoughts
thought
are.
it was kind of interesting to see Spider-Man fight actually in the mirror dimension
Mm-hmm.
because I think I think there's only Doctor Strange has been in in the mirror dimension. I don't know if any other hero has been in any other
Yeah,
main hero.
I mean, he would like, yeah, he doesn't transport any. I mean, he tries to transport Thanos to it, right? But
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, we haven't seen any fights inside of it.
Yeah, other than him and Caecilius.
Right.
But like seeing Spider-Man doing that whole, I don't know how I feel about the whole way he stops.
I really like that part of it, like it all being like geometry. I like when they ground magic in things.
Mm.
Like, yes, I get that it's magic. It's not like some like higher being math thing. Like, I really like that it's magic in the MCU. Speaking of which,
Uh-oh.
we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Uh, I do love how like he uses geometry and like he sees the geometry of the mirror dimension and like how it twists reality, and the way it twists reality is through geometry. Love that part of it. My only problem with the fight scene is it, how long it lasted.
It was pretty
I
long.
feel like it would have been better to have more of argument, especially with whose Doctor Strange character is, of him showing his side, like giving reason for his side, because you don't really feel like he wants to send them back, like to keep this reality, but like he doesn't say that, like he never says that to him, and I get like that's kind of his character, is he's this arrogant character still. He still has his arrogant personality that like just like, no, I'm right, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like, especially the way he first is introduced to Spider-Man, like he would have a little more respect for him to like
Hmm.
explain his side a little bit. But instead, we just get this like
Well, yeah, he
fight.
definitely had
It's like
more.
only a fight, no real explanation either way. And I
You
get that he sees him still as a kid, like he says that. But I would have liked a little less fighting and a little more arguing.
okay?
Not a
Okay.
lot, but a little. And that
Just
fight went on
enough
for
to.
quite a bit in the mirror dimension,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
What do you think of Spider? I'll talk about this later, even though it happens at this point. Let's go to the apartment scene.
All right. We get to see each character interacting with each other. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I love how we get to see each of their personalities come through.
Oh yeah. Like Doc Ock and Green Goblin and
Yeah, Doc Ock just, give me back my powers.
as well as Sandman wanting to just basically wanting to go home.
Yeah, he doesn't. he doesn't have a dog in the fight. He just wants to get home.
Electro, just like I want power.
I feel the new strange energy in this world. I like it. Um,
Aunt May.
yeah, Aunt May's just wanting to help, wants to say,
Well,
I'm proud of you, Peter.
basically Peter wanting to help, and then Aunt May's
Well, she's
helping.
kind of the one pushing.
Yeah, true. But
We see what's his face, Lizard out in the
oh
truck,
yes,
just hanging out there.
just
I don't know. I don't know exactly how I felt about that.
well, he's,
The decision, the filming decision. I think it like the reasons you didn't want the apartment too crowded. They didn't want to have to do all the CGI of a lizard the whole time. Man, but it's not the best. Like it's almost like pop out. Just to all right. He's staying in the truck.
yeah, yeah. We also got to see J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh yes, J.K. Simmons revising his role, did a spectacular job. We see him trying to catch Spider-Man with his pants down, as you might say.
Oh, okay. We also it was great to see how all these interactions with these characters kind of grew, and even Green Goblin was helping
Yeah,
Spider-Man, but then it actually switched because Doc Ock didn't want to help. So
right,
if you thought about it, they actually switched places.
right.
So it was kind of interesting.
I really like that aspect of it because like that's like who they are in the Tobey Maguire, right? Like
Yeah,
Norman Osborn wanting to help uh uh Peter Parker, Peter
Spider-Man.
Parker, Green Goblin trying to stop him. Um, Doc Ock wanting to help him, then trying to kill him. I really like that dynamic that they like brought in really well.
Oh yeah.
And that what I really like is how much Toby Maguire trusts them. Like he literally has a kill switch, right? He can send them back at any time, and he
You
tells.
mean uh, Tom Holland?
What did I say?
You said Tobey Maguire.
I'll just say Spider-Man. I said Tom Holland.
You said
Okay,
Tobey Maguire.
I love Tom Holland and like how much he just like trusts them because like he has a kill switch.
Yeah,
Spider-Man has a kill switch. Well, MJ has it, but he literally could be texting her any minute to send it. But his phone's nowhere near him. He doesn't have his phone on him
that's
because
true.
he trusts them like so completely. Like trust that they want to get better. Like because and like Aunt May's there and like just like that whole like dynamic of like wanting to help more than wanting to hurt, right? Like he could be the he could be the respect through fear, but no, he's like respect through benevolence.
Yeah,
Like he's just trying to help.
yeah. He's
And
Spider-Man. He
he's
wants
so
to.
innocent. And then just like how Green Goblin plays on that is
But then there's that moment. His spider sense going off. Spider-Man spider sense.
oh yeah, that was gorgeous. Love how they go in and out of like first and third person,
Oh
like
yeah.
make you feel like you're in the shoes of Spider-Man.
hmm What did you think on that scene? Like, what were you thinking in those moments of that scene?
All right. So I personally thought we were about to get Tobey Maguire. I thought when the Spider-Man was going to come in because it reminded me of the scenes in Into the Spider-Verse when like the Spider-Man meet and they like spider senses going off. And so when it did the shot where you're looking straight into Tom Holland's eyes, I thought we were about to get another Spider-Man. But then you see him glance over at Norman Osborn the first time, like, uh-oh, what's going to happen?
Oh,
And then it slows down, does a couple more shots, and then he turns around and whip.
neat little trick you got there. Oh, such a good scene of
Once
that.
again, like it all was set up by the um change in his voice when he was talking to Doc Ock.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then just that we go into that one. Is it all one take? We
So that whole the shot from that to when it cuts to J.K. Simmons, I think, is one take. So you see him doing a spider sense, flipping his arm. They talk. the fight starts. They fight in the hall. They go through the window. Then I love that shot when it starts inside the apartment, comes outside, but it's at the corner, so it can seamlessly just roll around. You see them fighting on the balcony. Then I don't remember exactly how it goes, but I know that there's a really cool shot where he webs him on the
Oh,
ground, pulls him up, webs the roof, and then pulls back down
oh,
and smashes him into the ground. And then I think right after that is the cut to J.K. Simmons.
oh,
And that's when you see Lizard break out.
yeah.
And then then there's the hallway scene, and he gets thrown outside again after they get through a floor or two. And then the lizard shows up. I told you there'd be consequences. Throws him back inside, and he keeps on fighting. Just the way they use all Spider-Man's abilities in this fight is beautiful. They use his webs, as I talked about earlier. In this hallway fight, jumps off the wall and uses that momentum to throw the punch, the kick, and then gets on his shoulders and starts beating his face. And that just goes to Tom Holland's acting, which is so good. And that, like, you really get to see the emotion on his face, his like desperation to win, but at the
Hmm.
same time, like pulling his punches.
Yeah,
Like
like,
he didn't want to hurt him. He wanted to help him still.
yeah. Green Goblin just played him, and yet he's still Spider-Man. He's gonna pull his punches.
And not only that, but the pain we see in his face. Like he's hurt. You could tell he is hurt.
Hmm. And then once you finally hit the ground floor, it's like, oh my goodness, what just happened? And you get Goblin telling Spider-Man, you failed, basically.
Yeah.
Why are you still doing this?
But he's Spider-Man. He still thinks he can cure him, which has been proved by the fact that we've seen Aunt May this whole time running down the stairs with the serum. She still believes that he can cure him. Spider-Man still believes he can cure him. And then it all comes to head at the bottom floor,
Where we see Green Goblin standing over him.
choking him, choking that morality out of him, that morality that Aunt May gave him. And he's going to cleanse that out of him by taking away the one thing that he loves most.
And we get the whole shot of the glider just crashing through.
As Peter says, run, run, Aunt May, but she won't run because she, like him, is a hero.
Yeah.
And then we see Aunt May lying there and delivering that one line we've heard so many times. But she also actually delivers it the way that it was written in the comics. With great power, there must also come great responsibility.
Yes. Yes.
I was he happy, pull up, tell Peter to run. And he does.
And then we don't see him for
A little bit. We cut over to Ned's house where we.
meet Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
Man, this is where I was on it. So when we meet Andrew Garfield first, right? Another time, great balance of just like impact with humor, right? Like really important scene, kept it light, but also like you learn what you need to learn. Um, Toby, Andrew Garfield says you have magic in this universe too.
Oh.
What do you think of that?
That's true because there has been
There's been time.
time has elapsed between
He's
all
lost
these
it.
universes.
He
yeah.
talks about that.
Yeah, how he
I want to see
wasn't pulling his punches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there, like, does that tell us that there's another doc?
Does he come from the Doctor Strange universe that evil Doctor Strange came from? Does he come from a universe where he doesn't know about? There's no Avengers. He doesn't know who the Avengers are.
Yeah.
But
There's definitely a magical being there.
Is there? I mean, Spider-Man in the comics deals a lot with Doctor Strange. He becomes Sorcerer Supreme. We don't need to talk about that. But little Easter egg when he has the cape on. And but like he deals a lot with him in the comics, TV, even its TV shows. Like he shows up in a couple of the Spider-Man TV shows. So yes, was Doctor Strange there? He doesn't act like he knows who Doctor Strange is, right?
No,
But he doesn't talk about Doctor. He only sees Doctor Strange at the end. That's right. and he doesn't
Yeah.
really get to interact with him.
Yeah. He doesn't
So
need to.
he doesn't have a chance to. But my thought is this: the fact that when Tom Holland's Spider-Man, gets separated from his body, you see his spider sense.
Oh yeah.
Love that shot.
Love that.
And then he is able to still move his body and interact in the astral plane and flow back to his body. It does is are they in some way saying that his spider sense is like a magical thing in the magical realm, and like
Oh.
Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man knows that, and that's why he says that,
Oh, that does make sense because
or
well,
like he can sense that like
he
magic exists through it or something.
yeah, he must have if that is true, I would say he must have done research on his spider sense. He must have
Yeah,
like
like
tested it out.
yeah,
He must have done
and or
things.
maybe found a Doctor Strange type character,
Yeah.
a ancient one, a
Um,
long,
a doctor.
or maybe a
Just a man. Just
Morbius. No,
oh.
what's his name? Uh, the
Caecilius?
other guy,
Morbius? No. Mordred?
Mordo.
Mordo.
I
Okay.
mean, like, did he come to his world?
Oh. Oh.
I'm just saying, like, he knows magic exists apparently. So,
Yeah.
all right, then we meet Tobey Maguire.
I think like you said, the way he comes
The way
in.
he comes in, just literally already in character, just like every bit of me.
If you
That
if you
warmed
were to
my
place a
heart,
bet down,
especially
how much you want to
because of.
bet he just waited while he was waiting for his turn, he just practiced so much and just to get himself into
I
that.
mean, yeah, he's so good. And then their interaction right away, shooting the webs.
Oh yeah. Would you say that their spider sense was going off in that moment? It's the way they looked at each other.
I'm trying to remember how they kind of. I can remember how they portrayed the spider sense in Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. I mean, yeah, like I kind of like in Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah.
Like the way that like they sense that each other is
Yeah,
Spider-Man,
they kind of like
and then when you get to Tom Holland, right? Like, and they meet him, like he doesn't question it, right?
yeah.
Where yes, he is in grieving, but he's not like, wait, who are these? Where they come from? You know, he knows it right away too. So I could definitely see like something like that going on, and their spider sense going off for sure,
Okay.
and then accidentally. So then I also really like about that is the timing of it, right? That came right after Aunt May's death.
Oh yeah.
And then we meet them, and it's like it's kind of like showing the solution right away,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like there's like so you like as a viewer you have so much emotion, and then like it's like we broke your heart, now we're gonna kind of like put it back together for you, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like the
Yeah.
whole movie is that way, you know. Anyways, so then they go and meet him on the roof.
Yeah.
Maybe
Really
my
fast.
favorite scene. Maybe my favorite.
It was a very good
Even
scene.
though it's probably not. I love that scene so much.
I already told you what my favorite scene was.
I don't know. There's so many good scenes.
But really fast, I do like how Toby Maguire's character is like, is there any place that means something to him?
Yeah.
Is there any place he would go to?
Mm-hmm.
I loved that. Like it was like, oh my goodness, he absolutely knows basically where to look.
I mean, like it's like he's been here.
Yeah.
We've all been here. Like we've lost people. We have places that we go to grieve. Where would he go?
Yeah. And then
It's just like makes it so real to like the viewer. Like,
oh yeah. And then once they come into it, you just see um uh Tom Holland just crying and
you're just weeping with him.
breaking. And then you have his friends just come in, hug him, give him that
Oh.
hug, and he's like he's just basically given up at this
Yeah,
point.
he's broken. He's been Green Goblin has won.
And even when
You
he's
have to put him
like
back together.
for us, we were very excited to see these two characters. Like it was a moment of like fixing our hearts. And but when Tom Holland sees them, he's just like, I'm done.
Yep.
I'm done.
And then we get a little glimpse into their world.
Yeah.
They all talk about what's going on there. Andrew Garfield talks about the
Well,
fact
not
that
right at
stop pulling punches, and I want to see that in a movie
you
so
want to
bad.
see him just like
That'd be such a good movie. Anyways, then do you want to talk more about that scene?
well, I mean, so what about the shots of that scene?
So good. Love the silhouette shot
Oh
up
yeah.
top. The way they jump down in like their own styles, like you can like see
It
you can
was
see
so good.
the like movement of them being so different,
Yeah.
but like fitting so well.
To be honest, when I saw that, I was for a second thinking, is this a trick? Is this like a trick of the eye that I'm having a
Yeah.
problem or something?
Like I don't know how they did the shot. I don't know if like
I want to say they must have like
they did
just
it
jumped from a certain point to another point.
right, but what I'm saying is like I don't know if they used it. I don't know if they were in the same shot when they did it. You know, if they were doing a lot
Oh.
of CGI there, because with the silhouette they had a lot of a lot of play they could do with green screen and stuff. But it was still I don't care how they did it. It was so good.
Yeah, and
Um,
yeah, like did you, was the so I
uh,
could be very wrong about how this shot was taken. So you see that moment when you first see them, you're kind of looking up at them from Tom Holland, but as they're talking, it doesn't it kind of like level out?
so yeah, I like how like they're up there, right? Like they're there's just a lot of visuals of like us as viewers, doing away with the past,
Yeah.
moving forward with these characters, and like MC is doing that, right? And I think like that kind of like shows like we have Spider-Man on this pedestal, right? And now he's coming down to Tom Holland's level, you know.
Mm.
That's kind of how I took it,
Yeah.
and like they're coming to him in his moment of need, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just like them, like him realizing what they've been through, and then like them, him, him choosing to at least try,
Yeah.
right? They get in it, and then they go and they're making the cures.
Um okay.
I like how that kind of reminiscent of uh Andrew Garfield's universe, right? Him making the cure in his lab to
Oh yeah.
cure the
Oh yeah, the cure thing was
lizards.
pretty amazing.
I like that scene a lot. Like the shots in that scene, the like almost montagey nature of it, but it was like
It wasn't really the normal
right. It
montage.
wasn't like a bunch of cuts. It was more just like really smooth camera work, a lot of really I don't know fluid interaction with the characters, and then all the little moments like Ned and Toby talking about best friends.
And MJ and Tom Holland embracing.
And that look that Andrew Garfield gives them that just speaks so much to the past and foreshadows the future.
And Tobey Maguire shooting his organic webs.
Yeah, I love Andrew Garfield when Tobey Maguire shows that you can shoot it out his own hand. He literally like doesn't stop staring at his arm.
Yeah, it was so funny.
So good.
And then the way they just continue asking about it at that
Mm-mm.
final at the Statue of Liberty. Um so yeah, moving on to the point of the Statue of Liberty.
All
Speaking
right.
of, let's talk about the first thing. They're the way the whole I want to say banter between the three of
No,
them.
really good. Loved it. Like once again, like humor, like hitting the mark. Like they all just had such good chemistry with each other.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it is
such good
themselves.
timing. Just like yeah, it just felt so natural and real.
Yeah.
Even though it was like so different than like I don't know anything we've seen in a Spider-Man movie. They just like great acting, such great acting.
Now,
Then
a big fight. What did you think about that?
here's one thing I really liked about the whole scene is how either it's how big it is but how small it is. Like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of villains we're fighting, but they know when to like zero in on one thing. They know like
Oh yeah.
it didn't feel like they were leaving stuff out when they decide to only show one thing type of thing. It didn't feel like we were missing anything. It didn't feel like a villain should be doing something and they're just like off in La La Land. Like you feel like you get to see everything. You know they keep the villain busy in the right times. Like all of the fight scene felt so fluid, so uh well choreographed. And each Spider-Man once again like playing it how he play. Like each one has their own little fighting styles, has their own
Yeah.
little
I
movement styles.
and that goes to like so when they land on the head of the Statue of Liberty, you can really see that's how you really see them. You can see the difference in each one's style.
And then when they like swing around and
Oh yeah,
Tom Holland's the only one that uses the other Spider-Man. Like he's been there. Like he's used Falcon to swing on. He's like
yeah,
worked in a team, right? And so like it already shows. And then they had the discussion about it, right? And it
yeah.
like all of it just like goes together so well. Um, just the way they swing and the use
Oh,
of their webs, like very different.
very.
Um, especially between like all three of them, all three of them, are so different. And like
Well, yeah, you can get a very good shot when they're all three swinging in sync
and it's
right there.
just it's just yeah, and jumping. Anything else about that before we get to Green Goblin coming, or Hobgoblin coming in?
Oh yeah. I think the final thing that I would like to say about that whole scene was the way they did some of the shots of them carrying the bad guys. Like when Doctor Strange popped in, how they did that shot with Tom Holland and the lizard. That was actually kind of an interesting shot to see right
Mhm.
there. Very interesting. Um, yeah, and like how Doc Ock was able to talk to Toby Maguire.
Yeah.
How Electro was able to talk to Andrew
Yep.
Garfield.
Mhm.
Like I think they gave them enough time to talk before.
Nobody. Yeah. Like yeah,
Before.
you got their interactions, yeah, all the little moments, where like they were able to fit them in, but it never felt forced.
Oh yeah,
Not once did it feel forced. I didn't think.
yeah,
Um. So yeah. So then, your favorite scene, apparently. Well,
yeah,
go take it away.
yeah. When Doctor Strange is doing that whole spell, we get that thunderous voice of, "Can the Spider-Man come out to play?"
Yes, I love the sound design in that little. You think they've done it?
Yeah. And the way he comes in and just snatches the box out of Doctor Strange's hands, it's like something that you don't think should be possible for because you can't snatch anything from the wizard.
I love how, yeah, like that entrance, like set him up as like a villain worthy of being fought by multiple
Oh yeah,
heroes, right? Like
yeah,
it
and
wasn't just it wasn't just like, all right, like let's see how Toby Maguire beats his villain
yeah,
type of thing. It was like, no, like it can go toe to toe with all four of you
yeah,
at the same time, you
and
know?
not only so we've seen it before where a possibly a hero has fought against two villains and
Mhm.
where one of the villains doesn't come in until later,
Right.
and they did this one so well.
Just yeah, wrapped it up so nicely.
Yeah.
And then the spell getting out.
Oh. And seeing the cracks in the sky form, we see the figures in those cracks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we see like Craven, Scorpion, maybe Black Cat, maybe a Superior Spider-Man,
Yeah.
possibly a Scarlet Spider-Man, Venom type person. There's so many things we could go into
Oh
there.
man.
Just staying with like the plot and everything. So then MJ falls,
Oh,
and our hearts fall with her.
you know how
And you think,
terrified.
and you think Tom Holland's gonna catch her, and then he just
I think
takes
it
her
was so
back.
perfect how Green Goblin
Oh,
just
just whoosh. And you're like, well, What did I miss? It's like I think my eyes failed me there. And then you just see Andrew Garfield like the fact that like you can see that like he's thought about this for so long. Like,
Yeah.
what can I do differently? And he lines it up, jumps down there,
Oh yeah.
just saves.
Oh, so good. So good. And then
And
how
then you just see Tom Holland just like he's lost it. Like when he has no idea if she's saved or not.
Yeah.
He already lost his aunt and he's lost it. He just starts punching his glider.
Yeah.
Oh, just
Gets the pumpkin
pumpkin
bomb
bomb.
and
Just he's literally willing to kill him right
yeah.
there. Takes it down there. Now they're on Captain America's shield.
And
And such a great choice. The echoing noise every little bit.
every punch on that shield
Oh,
just boom.
How it just feels like
I wish I could imitate that sound.
Yes. And like they're all just like watching and he just beating on him.
And then like and Green Goblin's still laughing.
Oh yeah.
So good. His character is so amazing.
And once again, the fight cinematography is just incredible. All the choreography, seeing the whole array of Spider-Man's abilities as he uses his webs and his agility to fight him blow after blow. At one point, using both his webs to pull down the goblin's head right into his knee, and then flipping over the goblin, grabbing him with both hands, picking up and slamming him back down on his head. Then he grabs the glider. We all know he can do it.
And then how Tobey Maguire is just like
comes in.
and you actually that actually gives you the whole because Tobey Maguire has
Tobey Maguire wanted to kill him. He wanted to impale him with his own glider.
yeah. And you have the wrong character again.
No, I'm saying like
in the other
in his movie he wanted that's exactly what he wanted
so
to do.
that he was able to stop.
And not only that, but the fact that like we believe because we've seen him get impaled by his own like it's almost like they like literally took the weapon that killed him in his own movie and like so I believe like he could do it like
Yeah,
he might just kill him.
it was so terrifying.
Especially with like we have literally an erase right there, right? Like this could like there's a spell going on right now that could make this not matter. Like they could do it and it not affect the MCU. So like you felt, I don't know, I just felt like it could easily happen. Like
Yeah.
there was no part of me that thought like they have to stop this, you know, like to preserve Spider-Man or whatever. And then Tobey Maguire comes in.
Just stopping the glider because he's seen that before. He's seen the glider pale, and it's just like, man, all the almost all the Spider-Men, I'll say, wanted to save every single villain there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like that.
And then like that's Spider-Man. Like that is Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
he not only like has villains that like he like hates, but he also like loves like
Yeah.
just like the people they are, like who they can be. Like
Yeah.
he knew Electro before his Electro. He knew Dr. Connors before his Letter. He knew uh Norman Osborn. He knew
Doc Ock.
Doc Ock.
Oh,
Like it's not just even the characters in the movies that knew each other like he did. Like in the comics, like he has relationships with these characters.
yeah, and that's
And-
why Spider-Man is such an amazing character in these
Mhm.
movies.
More depressingness. That the ending of that movie is so sad.
It is sad. Like it feels like while yes, Spider-Man has had his win, it still feels like he lost.
Yeah, he lost so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I love once again like Benedict Cumberbatch's acting like
Oh,
made that scene so good.
call me Steven.
Yes. And then he goes down and talks to Ned and MJ and
I'm
we also
legit
get
about
a-
to start tearing
Me
up.
too.
Right
Moving on.
Moving on.
Great scenes. All of it's amazing. Benny.
It's glorious.
Then the movie ends. Good night. Yeah.
Oh man,
And-
just so good.
Yeah. So she's wearing the broken Black Dahlia necklace at the end.
She is.
What do you think of that?
To be honest, I never saw it until you mentioned it right
Oh,
now.
she is. I saw it and I was like, she still loves him. But
So
does she is so the way he's erased, right? Does she still love someone who gave her this that she does
yeah,
no idea who it is? Or
I would.
is it more of like she has it, she knows what it is, so she wears it? Or did Stephen Strange maybe put a
Oh,
little extra juice in the spell to try and help his friend?
maybe. I was gonna say that, like, she has it. She cannot remember why she has so much connection to it,
Mm.
and but she still wears it because she knows there's something
Another
about it.
thing, such as Spider-Man moment, he decides not to tell her when he sees the
Yeah,
ah,
like he knows how much
so
pain it
good.
brings, and it was so. Yeah, and it's like, why don't you tell him? Because we want to see him have that happy
Yep.
moment. Well, yes, this entire movie, we've had so much pain with
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, and it's like sad. It's so sad.
All right. Anything else you want to say about the movie before I start crying?
Yeah, let's. The last thing I want to say is his new suit.
Ah, his new suit. Love his new suit.
Oh yeah,
I I love how I love the final shots of that movie. How it like takes him
yes, I'm
like
shaking
you're
my head.
back in Spider-Man. Like you're
And
back seeing like a world where Spider-Man is needed. The smoothness of it,
mhm,
his new suit, like how it tied together all of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield,
yeah,
Tom Holland, the video game, like all of it was tied together in like this like final scene.
yeah, and I
Ah,
I just think it's kind of interesting what they did. How he was such an Avenger hero brought down to
mhm.
your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It was so interesting to see.
So, question:
Answer.
uh, where Edith?
Oh
Edith,
yeah.
right? That's the glasses. Edith.
Yes.
They get take. You see them in the thing. They get taken away. Who has them? Does somebody have them? Does he have them?
He may have them. I'm not sure if he has them though.
Like
Because
you
they
see them in the apartment right before it gets raided.
yeah.
You don't see the people take them, but you kind of are supposed to assume
Yeah.
that they took them. Is the DODRGK, whatever the heck their
Yeah.
name is,
I would assume it was
damage
given.
control people? Do they have them?
Oh.
Does
I would say it was given back to Stark Industry.
no? Well, they take stuff from Stark Industry too. Like they got wrapped up, so could be. Could be really interesting. Could be a plot point moving forward. And we still have to see what happens with MJ and Peter Parker. There's a lot to get to. Yes, I'm excited to see where the MCU takes Spider-Man and the next couple of movies coming out. But
Yeah. And that's going to do it for our Spider Man No Way Home movie review. Catch us next week for episode 4 of Back and Forth, where we do our Star Wars ranking.
yep, and we should be coming out with another movie review in the next couple of weeks. We haven't nailed down what movie it's going to be, but we will see you then.
Yeah. Don't put yourselves inside a box.